All right, so we're here with the first round of the HTCS. My name is Jeff.
And I'm Christophe.
So our first round is going to be Rob Simone versus Caleb Kyung.
So Rob is bringing elves, but it's juicy.
You could just call this just elves. Let's be real. We got Gruul elves, featuring the new card,
Rhythm of the Wild.
Yeah,
which is
pretty wild.
which is gonna be really exciting. Can he can probably have some pretty crazy turns, hasting out some dorks that are chaining into other dorks.
It's also, basically all of his guys are like goblin guys, except sometimes have haste and sometimes tutus. But what do we have? Caleb is on Sultai control.
Yeah, he's got a really spicy one here with a single Torrential Gearhulk in the main, and then a bunch of 4-ofs that he loves to play, like Remand and Cryptic Command. So we'll see if Rhythm of the Wild lands and gives all his creatures uncounterable, which would be pretty juicy.
Yeah, it's pretty good against the 4 Cryptic, 4 Remand deck. But I think Control does generally well against Elves. They've got a lot of removal. I'm not sure what he's playing green for. I think there is
Pulse of Marassa, Assassin's Trophy, and that's probably it.
Yeah, so a little bit of life gain and some
least.
catch-alls. A little backstory here before they start. They actually played last night at F&M for the 4-0, the final round. So they've got a little bit of a grudge match here. So from Friday night to Saturday morning. Let's see, I don't know who won the die roll. Oh, looks like they're rolling now.
Oh, here we go.
Oof.
Elves. Oh, crushed.
Okay. So, all right. So we already know this matchup is probably going to be a little bit more favored to the control player, and is on the play. But we'll see. See if this Rhythm of the Wild can really change things up. It's pretty good. It's meant for control, I'd assume. You know, can't be countered, and gives you guys haste. Seems like a reasonable choice against Sultai control. Not that you see Gruul elves versus Sultai control very often, but this is round one. Gotta start it off with the spice.
Let's have some hot tech. Also, the green is also for the engineered explosives in the main, and then of course a few sideboard pieces, such as nothing. Oh my God, he has nothing green in the board. He's just playing a blue-black control list. Let's be honest.
I mean, Assassin's Trophy is pretty sweet, especially in Modern, where things are pretty diverse. You never know what you're going to face.
Yeah.
So a catch-all. It hits lands, too, which is super important against Tron and the likes. So
yeah. And the control mirrors hit their Azcanta or their Colonnade or Tar Pit, whatever you need if for some reason you don't have a kill spell.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. Oh, no, there it is. 3 Field of Ruin. So the Pulse of Marassa is going to be able to rebuy those lands, which is going to be pretty important because he's not going to really get a whole lot of creature value outside of Snap, and I think he's playing 1 Torrential Gearhulk. So that's pretty sweet. If you can Pulse of Marassa Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah, just keep chaining those Field of Ruins forever and ever. So he leads off with a Misty and passes the turn.
So no cantrips.
And a turn 1 Elvish Mystic from Rob. Of course, the Dork on 1. If it weren't the Dork on 1, it wouldn't be Elves.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like there's going to be a fatal push here end of turn.
Maybe an opt.
Yeah.
Set up his draw steps. Find that Remand. Remand the Rhythm of the Wild.
Oh.
Oof, bring the pain.
That would be so sweet.
Nice.
But I imagine Caleb has no idea there's a Rhythm of the Wild in this deck.
Unless he saw it last night.
Like he might, yeah. That is true. Yeah, he probably knows everything.
he probably knows everything.
So he's holding up that Remand. You might see a spell snare. He's playing 2 spell snares. So if there's a 2-drop,
he's got a snare in hand.
Oof.
Cavern of Souls coming out that. And a 3-drop.
Oh, Remand this.
Into.
So you want to have Revolt? Oh, Cycle. Okay. Get that pulse value later.
Yeah. Oh, bring it back.
I like it. All right. So you see he has a Cryptic in his hand. Oh, he did have a spell. He does have a spell snare, but
and I think I saw a Snap in there as well.
There's not really a whole lot that snare is going to hit with Cavern in play.
Yeah, it's going to be really awkward for him.
Oh, and starting with an Elvish Archdruid gets to untap with that. That's huge.
I saw Rob just picked up a Coco.
So I mean, he has like on board. He has access to 4, 5, 6 mana. That could be some serious pain.
Ooh, coming in hot.
Coming in hot with the 2 damage.
The Mystic. Let's go.
Okay.
Is he gonna pass with Coco?
Okay, so this
looks
looks like he's really telegraphing Coco. We'll see if he respects the Cryptic and tries to do it on like upkeep or something like that.
Yeah. That'd be great. We'll see what happens. I think Caleb's going for the snap opt here, try to find some action. We know he's got 2 copies of Damnation and a copy of Engineered Explosives that he might be digging towards to eventually clear this mess. There's the snap. He targets the opt. Oof, let's go for it. We're digging.
Interesting that he'd get the breeding pool shocked in here. I guess he's not too worried about taking a whole lot of damage in the next turn. So he's I think relying on this because he's got an Overgrown Tomb in hand. That's the only reason I say that.
Does he have a tomb in hand?
Yeah, but
interesting.
He is
and Delta. Wow. Yeah, no, I think that's really aggressive. I guess here he can get basic swamp and hold up Cryptic, I guess, and still. But I mean, he could have just went for an island and then had the Overgrown Tomb when he needs the pulse.
What are we looking at for modes here? Is he going to be bouncing that Arc Druid just because he doesn't want him to untap with him, have an explosive turn?
Yeah, I really don't mind that.
Looks like he's doing well on number of cards. I think that's a flip card in his hand, which I assume is going to be Azcanta. So I mean, he's going to be set up to play the long game if he can just sort of ride out these next few turns, not without taking too much damage.
I think one of the best things that Rob could untap with is slamming a Coco, untapping, slamming a Coco. We'll see what the modes are. Counter draw.
Okay. Interesting. I'm assuming that he knows that there's rhythms in this deck, but I mean, it'd be really cool to see a rhythm into a Coco.
Yep.
That would be huge damage. I mean, Caleb is playing 2 copies of Damnation in the main.
Yep.
Doesn't look like he has any in hand though.
No, he's got Azcanta, Snare, Cryptic, and a Pulse, I think.
Yeah, he's got a Pulse and he's got a Snap in hand, so he might be able to chain some Cryptics at some point, gain some of that life back. Steel Leaf.
That's a choice. And doesn't swing in with the Elvish Mystic. What is he holding up?
So he's, well, yeah.
Unless he wants to make it a 3/3 first. But I feel like you're almost happy with that trade, unless you really, really need the mana. But you see even another land in his hand there, so not necessarily the case.
That snap is in play?
That snap is in play.
Yeah,
Lands in front. Caleb Kyung.
So there's
the man, the myth, the legend.
Dat boy. So he didn't do anything with his mana.
Yep. That's a weak turn from Rob.
Oh, I mean, this is basically an unblockable boy.
Just playing the Steel Leaf Champion.
Yeah, so I think Caleb would have loved to be able to even chump block here and then pulse it back, something like that. Unless it doesn't look like he has much more to do with his mana.
But the Steel Leaf, yeah.
Yeah, the Steel Leaf
makes it real awkward. Yeah.
Steel Leaf can't be blocked by power 2 or less.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It looks like Rob's passing.
Yeah, I don't know if he's in this weird position where he doesn't want to commit more to the board in case of a Damnation, but then he's got the Pulse to gain the life, so it's not even like the Steel Leaf is really going to be that fast of a clock.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be swinging with that Mystic though. I know you'd trade off with a snap, but
But I mean, you need to clear the way at least for your Elvish Archer, and it's not really doing a whole lot, really.
It's not, you don't need
mana's not an issue at this point.
Yeah, he's got a slow draw. We'll see what happens. Caleb.
So he found an opening to play that as
Yeah, and he's got Cryptic up, which is gonna be really bad for Rob. I don't know how Rob's gonna be able to punch through. What's that draw? I mean, he has yet another
I saw
land.
another mountain in there.
That's not gonna be good. I mean,
you have to pressure the control player because he just gets to resolve Search for Azcanta for free.
Yeah.
And now you're just in a rough spot where he's gonna be able to dig for that Damnation, and pretty much the game's over. I feel at that point, unless he draws a Coco soon to sort of answer that. But Rob is also playing obviously red for our newest unbanned elf. Oh, okay, here we go.
I think this is a Cryptic tap team draw, and he's doing a Coco in response. So resolving that Coco is going to be really, really nice. The hope is that Caleb doesn't find a sweeper.
Yeah, and we know right now he doesn't have one. And I think Rob sort of realizes that this Azcanta is just going to start digging him really deep. And if he starts to get free activations at some point, and found another Steel Leaf.
Steel Leaf and a Dwinnen's Elite.
That's huge. I mean, if he gets to swing next turn, he's got lethal on board. That being said, we know that Caleb has another copy of Snap, so I think if he's going to turn this Snapcaster sideways, and you're going to kind of telegraph, you're going to know there's a Cryptic coming or some sort of sweeper.
And Azcanta just flipped extra mana. He's going to have 8 mana on Rob's turn, which is going to be filthy, absolutely filthy.
You never want to see your opponent swinging with Snap when you have lethal on board.
Yeah, that's a rough sight for sure.
Oh, but he does have another Coco.
Is that another Coco?
That's another Coco. The question is, like, at this point, do you...
I don't think you do.
You can't fire this one off, right?
No, you have to... Because, like, Caleb still needs to answer these two Steel Leaf champions in some way. Otherwise, they're gonna crunch in.
Yeah.
So this turn, he's probably just stalling with the Cryptic, right? Stalling with the Cryptic, still just digging. And I think Rob just needs to hold up that Coco for a good turn, maybe. On Caleb's end step after he rats or something. I think that's your best bet with this Coco. You have enough pressure.
Yeah, if he gets to go end step Coco after a Wrath and then draw something like, or if he has a Bloodbraid Elf in hand, like that could represent a lot of damage for sure. Bloodbraid into Bloodbraiding into Rhythm would be pretty sweet.
Oh man.
Give it a 4, make it a 4/3.
It looks like he's got Clan Caller, Coco, and a Mountain in hand. So not the greatest. Not sure what... Caleb's got Remand, Opt... Oh, Torrential Gearhulk, Snare. And is that an Assassin's Trophy?
No.
This game is over.
He's got all gas, yeah.
This game is over.
And what do you do if you're Rob and he's just going to be activating his Kanta every turn? If you don't do anything... It looks like he's just going to be able to tempo this one out.
Yeah, I think that Gearhulk crunching in next turn is going to be huge. But Rob's almost forced to play something out so that it can block the Gearhulk, which is really not where you want to be as the Elves player. And Caleb has a string of removal, so this is going to be a rough one.
Do you just play everything out and hope he wraths away his own Torrential Gearhulk? Just to pulse it back? That would feel bad.
Oof. Oof. Gasoline. Rob looks like he's going to pass. That's...
Yeah, I can't tell what's in his hand, but
that's
I know there's a Coco in there.
Yeah.
At this point.
I guess he's going to try and go for Coco on Caleb's turn.
Yeah.
That's not
he
going to go
also can't
well.
double Coco through that remand,
Through the
which
remand,
also feels bad.
It's not going to go well. Caleb going for a fetch. He might just be... What does he have here? He has an Opt.
It's interesting, like, he goes for a fetch unless he's using his mana, but 12 seems to be like a key number with the double Steel Leaf. I mean, Rob can't really remove that Torrential Gearhulk, and he's pretty far ahead, but I wonder if that was at all on his radar, that magic number 12.
Yeah. Interesting, yeah. Caleb goes to respond to his Opt by remanding it. Just cycling that remand because it's not really going to be particularly relevant in this game. I don't hate going for the Coco in response to that play from Caleb. Like, the Coco here is much, much worse.
Yeah. The thing is, like, he might be able to set up, like, he maybe wanted to bait those attacks. Maybe if he Coco's in response, Caleb leaves something back just as insurance. But, well, he's got the Damnation in his hand anyway, so you might as well.
Did he? He drew it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
So it really does just bait all of Rob's resources. And now 12 looks like a really healthy life total when you have Damnation in hand.
Yeah, it really looks like he's getting Damnation this turn. I mean, he let the Coco resolve with the Cryptic in hand, so he's probably just going to Damnation, pass with Azcanta / Cryptic up, and just win the game. Yeah. It's
well, one thing that's important to note is Caleb's been sitting on that Spell Snare since the beginning of the game, so I'm assuming those are sort of coming out. Even though, I mean, there are spots where it can be good, but really, Elves wants to be turn 1 door, turn 2, 3 drop.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously playing a bunch of Steel Leafs. He's playing the Rhythm of the Wilds. He's got, we saw Azuri in play there. So he's got Azuri Archer, just a ton of 3s.
Yeah.
Really,
it's not really about his twos.
Really going to be foregoing those 2s. And things like Gwendolyn's Elite's going to get uncounterable with Cavern, so. Doesn't fire off the Damnation. Doesn't feel like he needs it. Oh, he's got another Cryptic in hand. So there's really not much an Elves player can do against Cryptic Command. You kind of just have to run them out of them.
Yeah.
But this is the danger where you're this sort of explosive aggro deck against a control deck, and if you just don't clock them fast enough, you're never going to.
Is that Cryptic number 3?
Well, number 3, but it's.
But he's cast multiple with flashback. Yeah.
Actually, I think that's Cryptic. Yeah, Cryptic number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 even maybe? I don't know. I lost count.
I think it's 5. I think he's cast 5 Cryptics.
Yeah, so now Rob's in the position where he needs another Coco to not die.
To not die, yeah. Yeah.
Not dying isn't winning, but it's a start.
He's got Clan Caller and something. I can't see what that is.
So if you're... Caleb doesn't really have a lot of choice in terms of like he's probably turning everything sideways, even if there is a.
The snare's gonna find a target. You might.
Oh,
you
no!
You just do, right? You're like, okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna let me.
Oh no.
I mean, he's got.
That's unfortunate. I think he just picked up the coward and was like, "Oops." I just assumed everything was
Sweet,
uncounterable.
that resolves. Cool. It's gonna die.
Yeah.
How much does
I mean, it's a
Azuri's,
Activation cost 5.
for the regeneration one though?
1 in a green, I think.
1 in a green. Okay, because we know
Yeah,
that
it might
Caleb
just
has a
be
trophy.
green as well, but
It's over.
yeah, not much you can really do with that.
Yeah. He had what was a promising start and then kind of fizzled out there.
I think he just drew too many lands.
Yeah.
I think he had a few spots. I think Caleb just got to resolve that Search Rise Canta a little too early.
Turn 6 as Canta, which is like with cryptic backup, it's gonna be pretty nasty.
He felt pretty safe to do so.
Yeah.
I think you need to sort of just find a way to pressure, even if it's with a main phase or an upkeep Coco. But yeah, it's really tough. I imagine this game 1 is going to be really, really tough for the Elves player. I mean, there is the Rhythm of the Wild, which was supposed to offset the control matchup a little bit, I think. But it looks like his sideboard is packed with one of the first cards in the sideboard, Banefire. That's a great way to close out a game with a ton of mana. You notice that like Caleb just at one point just sort of gave up on. He's gonna have as much mana. He's gonna be able to do whatever he wants. I'm gonna cycle these remands. They're not gonna be useful. I'm just gonna manage what's on the board.
Yeah.
So if Rob can keep those Arc Druids around like he did last game,
And just pump into a huge Banefire.
Yeah.
Finish the game.
Oh, there's 2 chokes too.
And there's 2 chokes because you know what? Screw the blue players.
Yeah. 4
Let's just
cryptics.
kill
I'm gonna
them.
punish you for that.
Nice islands, bro.
Cindervines, another new card.
Cindervines from the new set. Very exciting.
Very interesting.
Okay.
I mean, it could also hit us Canta. I mean, we're really not looking for it to do that, but I'm just trying to make a point for this card. And there's I guess EE, but man, that's
Damping Sphere is probably not coming out either. Neither is Dismember or Essence Warden or
Essence
Bold.
Warden is interesting, but not coming in.
So probably just Banefire, Choke. Do we want?
Is there scavenging who's coming in when you got double?
I don't know. Are we cutting anything? You kind of need the density, right?
Yeah.
You can probably cut some of the weaker elves and then bring in the Banefire and the 2 chokes. That's gonna be good.
But do you cut some 3s? Do you expect that your dorks are gonna be getting pushed? Do you want 2s? You saw he has Spell Snare. I mean, I guess casting it without the cavern gave him some information. So, genius? I think so. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot to cut. But I mean, you're bringing in Banefire, the chokes. I'm assuming you're bringing in Cindervines. I don't know what else.
Bring in Cindervines?
I don't know. Like,
I don't think you can. I don't think you can dilute enough.
I think only because there's not a lot to take out, but I don't think it's the worst card if you're looking for some reach.
I almost prefer the Scoos over the Cindervines.
I feel like...
Because you know your opponent's playing Torrential Gearhulk.
Like, even though you've lost control of the... That's true.
And Pulse of Marasa.
Oh, that's true. If there wasn't Pulse, then maybe, but he has too much life gain. Well, 2 pulses seems just like a lot of life gain.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Especially when you're snapping him back.
Oof.
Yeah, this seems really rough. There's not really a whole lot to bring in other than a big Banefire and just to get him with the choke. But again, these players, they know each other really well. I wonder if Caleb is expecting the choke.
He's probably ready. He's just gonna put E on 3 and pass.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Rob goes for like an end step collected company and Caleb elects not to counter it or remand it just because he's scared of choke.
Fear of choke, yeah, for sure.
So that could be a really interesting thing. That
choke is a bit of an archaic sideboard card, but it's effective. We'll see how it changes the shape of the game in this one. And let's have a look real quick, see what Caleb might be bringing in. Although his main is already pretty well equipped, he's probably going to be cutting remands, maybe some snares like we talked about. Probably keeping cryptics, maybe shaving one of them. Although the stall is so good. What does he want?
There's Bantu's Last Reckoning, so that's a sweeper right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Then Leona Last Hope is great against picking off all those little.
Yeah, Kalidas is going to be
elves.
amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Kalidas with all his removal. Honestly, I could see a negate. I love Dispel against. I guess.
Do you think there's any number?
Rob's not playing Chord though.
He's not playing Chord, so I mean that also makes
maybe.
Brutality a little bit worse.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
If you are trying to do it, Brutality is a nice way to like gain life as well and pick off a creature. So I could see maybe a few coming in if he has enough to take out. And I think a lot of the cheap counters are coming out.
Yeah, so maybe we're probably cutting the Supreme Will as well.
Yeah.
Although he does love digging for gas.
Yeah, that's a personality thing, but I think that's like a kind of a flex card that. Yeah, you're happy to play it in the main over a variety of matchups, but it's usually something that's the first thing to get cut when you have a whole lot of stuff to bring
Flexible
in.
but not powerful.
Yeah.
Although with Gearhulk, it's pretty gross to proactively do something with Gearhulk or with Snap.
If you get to go Supreme Will and like Snap Supreme Will, like you're digging extremely deep, right? And now he's going to be going up to 3 sweepers, 4 if you count Engineered Explosives. You know, if he's going to be able to dig and get this
find
game
those
to go
sweepers.
along.
Yeah, he didn't even need them there, right? He just chained the Cryptic, so maybe that'll happen again. All right, let's have a look and see what their mulligans are looking like.
Oh, so he's got Bontus and a Damnation.
And an opt.
And he's got an opt to find that 4th land. So, I mean, that looks like a pretty solid hand against Elves.
I mean,
Rob is obviously on the play now, so that is, I think, a huge thing for the Elves deck. Try to apply pressure. He got out on the board really quickly.
And then, fizzled out.
But then fizzled out. So, you know, if he was a turn faster, maybe he could have pressured a little bit more, but...
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. 4 Cryptics is a lot to fight through without a whole
Is
lot
this
of
a
recalls.
5?
Oh, no. You hate to see this kind of thing happen.
Oh, and Caleb's on a 6. So Rob's 5 to Caleb's 6.
Yeah, so Caleb's got 3 lands, 2 sweepers, and an opt, which seems really, really powerful. But
That's
Rob's
just
got
a great hand, yeah.
I think he's got Elf into Archdruid. So,
which is great. Very solid start.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see.
Put that into something like a Bloodbraid Elf, which we haven't seen yet.
Yep.
It could be... So if you're Rob and you're on a multi-5, are you looking to just plow through, just get everything out as soon as possible, not worry about a sweep? Just say, you know, if he's got a sweeper, he's going to get this game.
I think
it might be a little bit too early to sort of determine that, but...
I think, like, you're not really winning this game on a 5 without just running your opponent over. You have to just try and be quick out of the gates.
Okay, so that Brutality did come in. It was able to...
And the Cinder Vines from Rob.
Okay, so he did bring in the Cinder Vines.
Saucy.
I wonder what he took out.
I mean, I don't like seeing that Rob has... I mean, he's going to play the Rhythm next turn, which is going to be really nice, resolving that.
Yeah.
And I guess Caleb went for the Duress mode and is actually whiffing, so that's in Rob's favor.
See, most people say Duress, but it's not quite Duress.
You're right.
So those enchantments are safe.
Yeah.
But no, it's just something that everybody says, and half the time like, oh, I can't take this walker, or darn, you got me with the Cinder Vines.
Yeah.
But I mean, Rob may be able to set up something pretty sweet next turn.
I mean, he's gonna have some 2/2 elves, that's for sure.
2/2s or 1/1s with haste.
Ooh, look at that.
Chaining elves, give them haste.
Just get in there. I feel like you make them.
No, yeah, they're definitely gonna be 2/2s.
He's coming in hot.
Yeah. No, you're not trying to rush down the opponent with 20 life. Oh,
did he give it haste?
Okay, he gave it haste. He's looking at.
Oh, he just wants to dump out. So this one's getting a counter then, and then he's gonna play the Cinder.
I don't know. I mean, he has a.
Like I feel like you give. What?
What's happening?
What is going on? No, he gave it haste as well.
Okay.
I don't understand.
I think that is just maybe an oversight. It's a new card.
Yeah, he wants to keep up that 1 mana to snipe that Azcanta.
Yeah, just in case you need to deal 1 damage to yourself. You know, who knows? The Carplusian Forest.
So that seems like an interesting line from Rob.
Yeah.
And we just saw the Kalidas in Caleb's hand. He's probably gonna shock and then crack that. Yeah, Field of Ruin.
So are we
Fix his
looking
mana
at
here.
a sweeper or just straight up Kalidas? Because you just
I feel like
you
you
much
just
that you care for, and then you get the zombies anyway when you sweep afterwards.
Let's see. So he's got Damnation, Kalidas,
Bontu's
Assassin's
last
Trophy, and Bontu. So he's got Sweeper, Kalidas, and Trophy.
Okay, so if he misses his 4th land drop here, do you
I don't know how much
just
you want
Bontu, or
Bontu
you really
feels bad
don't
when
care
you
that much?
when you can't untap your lands, right?
Okay, we have another Brutality, which can offset the damage from that Cindervines.
This is awkward for Caleb. But I think, yeah, he's going to go for the Bontes. He's going to
It's
take
a little bit
one.
awkward because obviously whatever Rob comes off the top could have haste, but he only has
He's also
access to
limited
2
to
mana
two
now.
mana,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it seems pretty safe. I mean, you're at 16 life, and you have. Okay. Now he's put the counter on it. All right.
Oof, Caleb
Okay.
drawing the Cryptic. This is going to be a little bit of an opportunity for Rob.
If Rob can hit a couple good draws in a row, he's definitely in this game.
Awkwardly enough, he needs mana so he can cast his bigger spell.
Does he draw?
Scoos. The Scoos came in. Let's go. Okay.
All right. Okay, he didn't even
Those
have
were-
to eat anything. And
Those
boom.
were, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Those were a good series of draws.
So,
not
I
gonna lie.
mean, okay, so he knows the Damnation's coming. Well, he doesn't know what Damnation is, but he has access to Damnation next turn. And I think he's going to be happy with just taking the damage this turn. I don't really see an Assassin's Trophy on anything this turn.
Neither do I know.
That being said, if he
Whoa.
takes the damage...
He's hitting the rhythm. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why then?
That does seem a little odd. I guess this is in his upkeep
It was after his draw. It was
after his draw.
Oh, I guess because of the land. Okay, so Rob can draw the land and then not have it to fetch, essentially. I suppose that's fine. Let's go into combat. Smushing.
It's just a little odd. It could give him access to, like, some 3-drops, right? That otherwise would have been
Yeah.
dead in his hand, but...
All right, well,
I mean,
he's got 4 mana.
maybe he's trying to bait him into being able to cast a spell so he can
So we can
Damnation.
Damnation.
So, I mean, let's see if the Cindervines is at all relevant. Like, if you look at his life total, he gets 7 more spells to win the game.
Yeah.
So, I think it's dealt 2 damage so far.
I actually am beginning to really like that trophy play from Caleb, because what's really pressuring him after he rats is hasty threats.
Yeah.
Right? Something off the top that Rob can just, if Rob untaps and slams with like a Blood Braid that gets something else that's hasty, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, and so Rob didn't choose to eat anything with his Scavenging Ooze, just to grow it for more damage. Is that what happened?
That is what happened.
Okay.
He didn't eat any of his creatures, no. And he limited Caleb's options on his
So
turn.
I think he could have eaten 2 creatures and then pressured him.
Caleb
Would have
would
been
be
out
at
of
4.
4, which I think makes Cindervines a reasonable play. But now I understand killing that rhythm. That being said, is there any reason to not kill the rhythm on the stack if you play something that's problematic?
That's fair.
But I mean, he's got Cletus for life gain, so now that Cindervine's not looking too impressive.
Probably just gonna crash in.
Yeah, I mean, he's also got a Collective Brutality, so
Oh,
he could get a
God,
zombie
make a
if he
zombie.
wanted to.
Yeah, just crash in first. See if you get the block somehow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
He's
gross.
got the Cryptic, which can.
Doesn't even brutality. Doesn't even care.
Well, I mean.
He doesn't
Yeah,
need,
you can
this
get the
game
zombie, but
this game's way over. Yeah.
This.
well,
Okay,
there's
okay.
a
Well,
Blood
we
Braid,
found
alright.
Blood Braid.
Let's
Can't
cascade.
counter this one. Let's see what he can find.
Well, that's a 1/1.
That's the nature of elves. This is just what happens. I mean, it would have been pretty sweet with like a rhythm. You can get 2 things. You know, put +1/+1 counters on
Rhythm
things.
with Blood Braid sounds like a dream, man. Sounds like a total dream.
So now, I mean.
All right, we're crashing in.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Block with him? Nah.
Oof.
Ooh, feels real bad if he has a
Shows
Snapcaster here.
him the tar pit. Shows him the tar pit. He's like, I'm gonna block with my tar pit. Make a zombie.
Do you want to give me a zombie? Maybe you want to keep that Llanowar elf back.
Yeah.
He looks better standing up. I mean, if he just sings with the Blood Raid, are you still trading your Creeping Tar Pit? I think I would for sure. Like,
I think you snap
seems
that
pretty
up.
Sweet. If he goes like snap, block, and then Assassin's Trophy something, that feels really bad. You
that's
really don't have a lot of options. But I mean, how do you
Red
leave your Bloody
zone.
Raid elf back? Like, how do you win the game if you're?
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you're just not. Let's
I
be
mean, you
honest.
get to double block the Kalitas, but then you just get hit by the tar pit. Like,
You double block the Kalitas and then get blown out.
yeah. I mean, you have to try to win the game somehow. You have to figure out, like, what miracle line can I have?
I don't think you have a miracle line here, though. I think this is just a Ah, I've lost.
Yeah.
You know, even just on
Where's
board.
that fighting
you're
spirit,
just like,
Chris?
ah.
Come on, man. It's not over till it's over. All right, he's looking for zombies. Poor Rob has to watch this.
How many are you gonna make this game?
I found one, but I'm gonna need more. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull one out, but oh wow, it doesn't even find one.
Okay.
This is a zombie. Shouldn't it be a werewolf?
Fair enough. All right. Can he werewolves Cletus? Oh, that's another cryptic. Oh boy.
Yeah.
This is a rough one.
But you know, the block with Tarka
Oh,
does
okay.
limit Caleb's mana, right? That 6 mana was relevant. Then he could brutality and cryptic in the same turn, but now he's just gonna have to settle for the best 4 mana counterspell.
The best 4 mana card? Question mark? For you. I mean,
Oof. It used to be a KCI.
ooh,
Didn't it?
Too soon, man.
Sorry,
Too
dude.
Soon.
Sorry.
Lost a lot of dollars on that one, okay?
Yeah, you did
Now,
actually.
now I gotta commentate for Harry T. gotta recover some of that.
Woo!
Some of those lost funds.
Oof, there's the 6th
Alright.
land for Caleb. Rob having a pretty miserable land go. Not what you want to
Oh, okay.
You
He's
hate to see this
discarding Cryptic Command to Brutality.
see. Is he going? Is he?
He's escalating twice.
Whoa!
Just to assert
What?
dominance.
Just show me your Coco.
Show me
I
that.
don't have one. You're dead, dog.
Wow. Okay. I think this is Caleb just styling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's BM value points for
Alright.
sure.
I'm gonna drain you. Let's.
I mean, yeah, and he's still holding up this cryptic, right? Like, oof.
It would have been really BM if he discarded both of his cryptics.
Cryptic. Just to look at the hand,
Oh yeah.
just to see it.
You gotta take a peek. You know. You never know what's. To be honest, like you see Cindervines and Rhythm, you're like, what else you got in
Yeah.
there?
What spice do you have, sir?
Are you gonna go like land Primeval Titan or something crazy? That'd be cool.
That'd be super cool. To
Haste
hear,
it with
oof.
Rhythm of the
Oh.
Wild. Let's go. I'll get 4 lands, then Banefire you.
That's the dream. Let's do that. Why didn't he sign into that
I'll
plan?
get 2 Valakuts and 2 more mounts. All
Yo.
of a sudden it becomes your worst matchup. There you
Rhythm
go.
of
How
the
do you
Wild. Let's
how do you
go.
beat Control as Gruul Elves? You sideboard into Scapeshift.
You sideboard into Scape Shift, and you're playing Rhythm of the Wild main, which is already fantastic.
Easy peasy.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean that's just the nature
Extends
of
the
elves where
hand.
you just draw
Draw
a bunch
one
of
ones.
dorks. Yeah.
I mean, that 5 was a rough one for Rob for sure.
Yeah.
Painful.
So he didn't get his revenge after F&M, but I mean, this is a rough matchup.
This is a tough matchup, yeah, especially when you board in Cindervines.
And if anyone's wondering how Rob continued to do, he did bounce back. I mean, we're not going to see him in the next rounds, but yeah, I think he almost cashed this event. So he was
Nice.
just lost his last round, so he ended at 3-3. So
Solid.
good job.
Solid finish. So we can see he brought in Cindervines, Banefire, Scoos, and the Chokes.
Okay,
I
so and
think.
Caleb brought in all 3 collector brutalities.
He brought in the Brutalities. I think he was expecting Court of Calling
Yeah,
out of his opponent, which you would.
you would, but when you see
Rhythm of the
when
Wild,
you see Rhythm of the Wild
interesting.
in the main board, and then you gotta assume that Bloodbraid Elf's in the deck.
although to be fair, did he see the Rhythm game 1?
No, actually, you're right.
He didn't see the
he
Rhythm
didn't.
game 1. So you could be assuming that it's just traditional elves with Bloodbraid.
Yeah.
And then I can see the Brutalities a lot more expecting the...
And honestly, 1-for-1 removal against elves is
yeah, like you're still going to
It's
just
completely
2 mana
fine,
kill
right?
your dork, you know, you're happy with that.
and that little bit of life gain seems really nice when you have things like Cindervines and Banefires coming at you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know there's Banefires, but hey,
And yeah, hasty threats with
it's
Rhythm
always
and
nice to
Bloodbraid. And
insulate yourself against like
Yep.
random aggro decks.
For sure.
Padding your life total is huge.
yeah, and I think he's going to love to do that with 3 Brutalities and 2 Pulse Marasa and 75.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Just snap them back, baby. Snap them back.
So gross. Pulse snap pulses like. Ugh.
That's just value.
I know, especially if you.
How
get
do
to
you
buy back
beat
a
Burn?
snap.
That's how you beat Burn.
Yeah, I mean Burn is like super popular in the format right now. So
Yeah.
as you can
Maybe
see,
Caleb learns
Rob's
something.
on 2 Essence Warden in a sideboard.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I guess we'll see you on round 2.
Let's do it.